Can everyone please turn on their videos and be ready? Jamila. We have like 3 minutes now.
Good morning, everyone. Hope you all are having a lovely Saturday morning so far. I'm Hirni Dias. I'm the Vice Chairperson of the Pika OGF Teens Club, and I will be moderating the session today. So first of all, on behalf of all of us at Pika Book, we would like to extend a warm welcome and a big thank you for taking the time off your busy schedules to come and watch us present at our Teen Readathlon. So before I introduce our wonderful line of presenters today, let me give you a brief overview on what Pika Book is. So basically, Pika Book is a global movement which encourages the reading habit by having participants select a book, read and research on it, and present a summary of it to the rest of the club. So this not only helps in presentation skills, public speaking skills, and communication skills, it also helps inculcate knowledge and the habit of reading. So on that note, let me introduce you to all our wonderful presenters. We actually have quite an interesting session lined up for today. So first of all, we have Sehandu presenting The Magic of Thinking Big by David Schwartz. Next up, we will be having Jamila, who will be presenting Ikigai by Francesca Mirols and Hector Garcia. Next up, we have Harish, who will be presenting the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And then we have Kiara presenting It's Kind of a Funny Story by Ned B Jamie. And lastly, we'll be having Akil, who will be presenting Born a Crime by Trevor Noah. So without further ado, let's start the session with our very first presenter, Sehandu. Hi, Sehandu.
Hi, Hirni. Can you
Hope
guys?
you're,
I hope you
doing
can.
good today. Yeah,
Yeah,
we can
I
hear
am.
you.
Likewise. Right. I think we'll get into it, right? Let me just. Can you guys see my presentation?
Yeah, we can see it.
All right, great. Right. Before we jump into the book, thank you, Hirni, for that introduction, and thank you for starting the session off. So once again, my name is Sehandu Damsat, and I'm 17 years old, currently schooling at Thurston College. And today I'm going to be presenting to you the book, The Magic of Thinking Big. This is what the book cover looks like if you are curious. Actually, a fantastic read, and it shouldn't take you that long. And hopefully by the end of this presentation, I would be able to convince you to have a read. Right. Let's get into it. Let me just... So before we dive into the content of the book, the author has a little story for us. The story goes as, once he was at a sales meeting, and I'll keep it very short so that you just get the general idea. He was at a sales meeting and he was witnessing one of the vice presidents of the sales department having a meeting with other few employees, and he was there to witness it. So one of these employees was earning about $60,000 a year, while the others were earning around $12,000 a year. Now, after the meeting, this head goes and asks the other employees who are earning only $12,000 a year, why do you think Harry, who's earning $60,000 a year, is actually earning 5 times more than what you earn? To which none of them could answer. Then he said, do you think he's smarter than you? They said, no. Do you think he has better health than you? They said, no, he's pretty average. Then why do you think he has better than you guys? And none of them could answer. And then he said, the difference between you guys and Harry is that Harry thinks 5 times bigger than you guys think. And right now at this moment, because we're at the beginning of the presentation, it's going to make no sense to you guys. But by the end of it, you'll understand what I mean. So let's get into the contents of the book. Here's a quote to start things off. Success is determined not so much by the size of one's brain as it is by the size of one's thinking. Basically what this means is, doesn't mean if you have a small brain or a big brain, it's how big that you think with it. That's what's going to matter, not the size of the brain. How do you develop the power of belief, right? So if you want to be successful, you got to believe that you're going to be successful. So how do you develop this power of belief? Let's have a look. Think success, don't think failure. For example, let's take this presentation today, for example. So last night, what I was thinking was, okay, I'm going to do it great. Everyone else is going to do great. And this readathlon is going to be, it's going to run smoothly. Instead, that's what you should be thinking. Not, oh, what if I mess up? Or what if it doesn't go smoothly? Or what if I can't present well? Or something happens, right? So basically what it means is positive thinking. It's really highlighted throughout the book. It's extremely obvious in any kind of motivational book. It's always telling you to be positive. But stick with me here because this book kind of elaborates on how you can do it. Instead of just thinking, okay, think positive, it kind of tells you, okay, how do you do this, right? As we dive deeper, you'll understand. And remind yourself regularly that you're better than you think you are. So most of the time, we don't realize our capabilities and what we can really accomplish because we think, we can't really do something. So when an opportunity comes up, we think, oh, I can't do this, I'm not good enough, or something like that. So you need to remind yourself that you are better than you think you are. And believe big. True. Just because you believe in something and you have a dream doesn't mean all the time you're going to accomplish it. But if you have the right determination and you are capable enough, you can pull it off. So the first step is believe big. Because if you don't think you can accomplish something, you're not going to do it. Right. So there's two types of people based on how they think. Now, as I go through this slide, I want you guys to categorize yourselves into one of these, right? So as I'm describing the petty thinker and the big thinker, put yourself into one of these categories based on the points that I'm going to tell you. See what kind of thinker you are. A petty thinker views the future as limited. Let's say they are in a tough spot right now. Instead of thinking in the long term how they can get out of it and how they can turn their life around, they'll be thinking, okay, this is it. This is the end. I'm done. Views the future as limited. Meanwhile, the big thinker sees the future as very promising. Maybe even they're in a tough spot, but they'll say, okay, if I do this, this, and this, by this point in time, I can turn my life around and get back on track. Or, whatever it comes to, right? This can be applied to anything, whether it's a problem or, essentially at any point in life, to any aspect of life, the two types of thinking can be applied. Looks for ways to avoid work. Petty thinkers don't want responsibility. They are mostly just trying to just not do anything, basically. They don't want to accomplish new things and learn new things, learn new skills. They just want to lie around and do nothing. But the big thinker is always looking for ways and more ways and things to do, especially helping others, right? They are the exact opposite of the petty thinkers. They always want to accomplish new things and they always help others. And the petty thinker competes with the average. So the best example that I can get for you guys to understand this is, let's say that you are in a classroom. Let's say I'm in a classroom and the student next to me is an average student. He's not scoring that much. He's scoring 60s, 70s, doing all right in class, just above average. And next to me is another friend who's getting 90s, always A passes and doing exceptionally well and always the first in class. Now, if I was a petty thinker, I would compare myself with the average student. And if I was doing better than him, I would say to myself, oh, I'm doing better than the average student. That's good. And, okay, that's great. But what you should be doing is comparing yourself to the exceptional kid and thinking, if he can do it, why can't I do it? That's the difference. The big thinker competes with the best. So likewise, the petty thinker competes with the average. The big thinker competes with the best. Now, I think by this time, you should be able to categorize yourself into one of these, either petty thinker or big thinker. Think really thoroughly and it's really not that hard. Once you see the points, you can figure out, okay, I need to change myself, or okay, it's good that I'm in this position. I need to work on improving myself. However, but most 99.9% of you will fall into one of these categories, right? Let's talk about excuses, right? Whenever we are given a responsibility or something important or something that we don't want to do, we'll come up with an excuse. So what are the 4 most common forms of excuses? But my health isn't good. But you've got to have brains to succeed. I'm too old or young. My case is different. I attract bad luck. So what do these mean? Let's say that you are having a sports meet at your school and the teacher wants you to participate in a certain sport, and you have the capability, but you fell sick a week ago. But that doesn't matter now because you're all good, but you did. And now you tell the teacher, and you really don't want to do this, right? You can do it. Your health is fine, but you don't want to do it. So you tell the teacher, my health isn't good. Sure, maybe you're a little weak, but you have the capability to actually do this. But my health isn't good. That's the excuse that you're going to give the teacher. Now, keep in mind, this is just an example, right? I'm telling you this to every aspect in your life. Whenever there's something that you don't want to do, your excuse, when you want to study and you have fever, but you can study, right? Let's say it's not a serious something, just a little fever. Your excuse when you don't want to study, my health isn't good, I have fever. That's the kind of excuses that you're using. But you got to have brains to succeed. Let's say your parents want you to do a certain course, and you think to yourself, but I'm not smart enough. I got to have brains to succeed. That's an excuse. Like I said before, the size of the brain doesn't matter. It's how big you think. And I'm too old, young. Let's say you want to start a business. And if you're old, you think, oh, I'm too old to get into this business. Or if you're a young person, I'm too young for this. And you just don't do it. And my case is different. I attract bad luck. This is just, you basically just give up. You just say, okay, I attract bad luck. This is the worst excuse in my opinion. It's just luck doesn't exist. And you see why, because it's in the presentation, it's in the book as well. David Schwartz talks about it, and I will talk about it as well in the future. So how do you overcome these excuses? Refuse to talk about your health. Now, that doesn't mean if you have a bad health condition, you should just ignore it and completely not go to the doctors and not get medicines and whatnot. What it means is you need to stop complaining. So basically, let's say that you have a spine ache, a backache, and you've got medications for it, but to your friends and your family members, you're constantly complaining, oh, I have a backache, I have a backache. Now, you've done what you can, right? You've gone to the doctor and you've gotten medicine, and there's nothing else you can do about it. You got to wait for the meds to work. But in the meantime, you're constantly complaining to the people around you, oh, my back hurts, my back hurts. Really, that's not going to do anything. All it's going to do is put you and the people around you in a bad mood. Again, this is an example, right? This is really broad and can be applied to any aspect of your life. But you've got to have brain to succeed. The ability to think is greater than the ability to memorize facts. So maybe someone scores more marks than you in history, but maybe you're better at them for maths. So what I'm telling is, basically history is just memory dumping, right? You memorize. And when the paper is time to write the paper, just literally just copy paste what's in your brain. And you copy from the textbook and you paste it. Just change it up a bit and write it to the format. But maths is different. You got to think, you have to solve sums, you got to work with numbers. It's different. Again, this is an example, but I'm hoping that you get a clear idea of what I'm trying to convey through this. The ability to think is greater than the ability to memorize facts. So again, thinking is really more important than just memorizing things, basically. And I'm too old, I'm too young. Invest your future time in what you really want to do. So it doesn't matter how old you are. That doesn't mean if you are studying and you want to start a business, just completely throw your degree away and go for that. No, but find time. Something I truly believe is, if you really want to do something, you will find a way to do it no matter what. Because you don't have time, or the time is not right, it's just a bad excuse. If you are really determined, think about it. If you have this movie that you really want to watch, whatever happens, you're somehow going to find the time to do it. But you have this assignment that you somehow have to do. Are you really going to work that hard to find the time to do that? No. So what David Schwartz is saying is, we should. So we're making a mistake, essentially. So invest your future time in what you really want to do. Think to yourself, be honest, figure out what you want to do, and find time for it, and pursue that path as well. And my case is different. I attract bad luck. Here's the luck section. Planning, preparation, and positive thinking produce success. David Schwartz says luck doesn't exist. Luck is essentially planning, preparation, and positive thinking. That is what produces success. Right. We make two errors with regard to intelligence. And once again, I'm really quickly browsing through the book, not really making it too boring and sitting on one topic for too long. But I highly, highly recommend that you read this book. It was fantastic, really an eye-opener. Anyway, we make two errors with regard to intelligence. So I'm skipping through the chapters and highlighting the important parts. We underestimate our intelligence. We can take the example where the maths and history example, the student scoring higher in history than you, but you're scoring more in maths than them. We underestimate our intelligence. Now, basically what he's doing is memory dumping. But since you can't get more than him for history, no matter how hard you try, you think, oh, he's smarter than me. But in reality, his ability to memorize is greater, but your ability to think is greater than that. So we underestimate our intelligence. And the next one, any guesses? We overestimate the other's intelligence. Basically, these are the two errors that we make with regard to intelligence. You can see how they support each other in a negative way. So we think we are not smart and everyone is way smarter. That just really messes with our self-esteem. And we really shouldn't do that, because it's really how well you think, because we all have the same 24 hours, the same brain, and what we do is essentially up to us, and where we go in life is our responsibility. Strengthening your creativity. This is really important. I believe that being creative is something that all of us should have. And personally, I think I'm a very creative person, and it really depends from person to person. But the good thing is you can strengthen it. So let's see how. Encourage others to talk. So what you're going to do is when you're at a public place and you're either meeting new people or talking to people that you already know, you want to let them talk. And when they talk, you should listen to them, right? Because our brain really takes that information, processes it, and that is how we get ideas from. You might have some problem, go to sleep, and the next day morning you might have a solution to it. You don't know where it came from, it just came to you. This is from past experiences and things that we gathered from other people. So encourage others to talk. Take your own views in the form of questions. So once you have an idea, something creative, go to some expert and ask them, okay, what do you think? Or it can just be your friends. Tell them, okay, I have this idea. What do you guys think of this? And they'll generally tell you their honest opinion. Okay, this is unrealistic, or this is how you can go about this, things like that. Get feedback from others and concentrate on what the other person says. Again, encourage others to talk. Encouraging them to talk is not enough. You need to concentrate on what they say when they talk. So you need to be listening, basically, be a good listener. So how do you develop your ideas? We get ideas throughout our entire life, right? And essentially, let's say you want to go abroad, that's an idea. And you want to go on a trip, that's an idea. You want to start a degree, that's an idea that came to you from somewhere. How do you, once you get this idea, how do you develop it? Don't let your ideas escape, right? So what I would say is have a piece of paper or a notebook near you at all times and a pen or pencil. Whenever you get an idea, jot it down. I personally do this. I have this notebook. I just saw a notebook and picked it up. I have this on my table at all times. Whenever I get an idea, I jot it down because I don't want it to escape. So if you just open this, it's just basically ideas written in here, because I do content and things like that. So whenever I get an idea, I have this book and I write it down. And whenever I have time, I come back to it. So let's talk about that. Review your ideas. Whenever you have some free time, come back and look at those ideas. What did you write down? Let's say you wrote down start a degree, rob a bank. 2 ideas that you wrote down. You just got them when you wrote them. Then when you're reviewing them, start a degree. Good. Rob a bank, not so good. And so when you review them, you can figure out whether, okay, is this a good idea or a bad idea? And then what you want to do is figure out which ideas are good and cultivate and fertilize your idea. So start a degree. Okay, you start researching, you tell your parents you want to do this. And basically, just an example, right? This can be applied to literally any idea that you get. And if it's a good one, cultivate and fertilize it, go for it, step on it and get to it. All right, we all have fears, right? How do you overcome these fears? First, what you want to do is isolate your fear. So let's say someone has a fear of the dark. And now you got to really think, let's say if you are scared of the dark, you have to think, okay, is it the dark that I'm scared of or something that's lurking in the dark? Is that something in the dark that's going to come and get me when it's dark? Is that what I'm scared of? Or, sorry, is that what I'm scared of? Or is it the dark that I'm scared of? So isolate your fear and figure out exactly what you're scared of and take action. Basically what David Schwartz says is you want to just face the fear and face it once, twice, and then you'll be able to overcome that fear. Building confidence. Deposit only positive thoughts into your memory bank. So throughout your day, you'll experience many things. And what David Schwartz says is just acknowledge the bad things that happened to you in that moment and realize, okay, this happened, this is bad. How do I have a solution for this? Do I have a solution? How do I fix this? And once that's done, don't put that into your memory bank. Just let it go. Don't keep thinking about it. Don't keep thinking about the bad things. Think about the good things. Deposit only the positive thoughts into your memory bank. And I'm sorry, I'm feeling a bit sick today. So, right. So withdraw only positive thoughts from your memory bank. So No matter how hard we try, of course, some negative memories are gonna get into our memory bank. There are some bad things that have happened to us that we're always gonna remember. Sometimes you might go to bed and remember this bad incident that happened to you. It's always gonna happen, but make sure to always only withdraw positive thoughts from your memory bank. So just try and focus on the good, basically, positive things. Practice these key points. This can be applied to any aspect of life, just like all of everything that I said so far. Don't wait until the conditions are perfect. Whenever you want to do something, don't say, oh, I'll do it when this happens, or I'll do it at this time, or when I think I'm ready. No, don't wait until the conditions are perfect. Then it's never going to happen. Do what you fear and fear disappears. Again, face your fears and fear disappears. Because then you know, okay, I don't have to be scared of this anymore. Don't waste time getting ready to act. Start acting instead. Enough planning and just thinking about it. Just go for it and get in gear and go. Just get to it. Just basically don't keep thinking and don't wait until the conditions are perfect. Just start, and whatever idea you have, if it's good, execute it. And 3 habits that you need to break. Putting off things, procrastination. I'm 100% sure that everyone here experiences procrastination. It's a normal thing. Sorry, it's a normal thing, and all of us tend to procrastinate whenever we have important things that we need to do, whether it's school assignments, homework, or job-related things. We need to stop putting them off and get what's done instead of just watching Netflix or playing games. We need to prioritize. We need to have our priorities. Negative language. Now you might think that doesn't have any impact, but it actually has a bad impact on us. Bad language can have a bad impact, negative impact on us. And gossip. Really, there's nothing to even say in this. It's just unnecessary information that's going into your brain that is no use to you. So basically just avoid it at all costs. Unless it's something really important, don't gossip. And 3, cultivate these attitudes. You need to cultivate these attitudes in yourself. I'm activated. Essentially, I'm ready to do this. I got this anytime. Whatever it is, I can face it. And you are important. Oftentimes, we think that we are not relevant in this world and we're not important. But you don't realize how valuable you are because someone out there is happy that you exist. And maybe, you just don't realize it. You don't realize how important you are in this world, but every single one of us plays an important role, and you truly are important, whether you realize that or not. And you need to build a successful environment. So basically, what this means is, now, if you want to get successful, right, your environment needs to be helping you to accomplish that. So the environment in which you are in is essentially going to impact how fast you actually get to this point of success. So how do you build a successful environment? You need to be environment conscious. Whether it's your home environment, your work environment, your friends, your family, all of that is in your environment. So you need to think, is this environment helping me to get to the place that I need to be? Is it a positive environment or a negative environment? And make your environment work for you. You need to be in a place where the environment is helping you to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish and not holding you back. And don't let others' jealousy hold you back. I can guarantee you this. Just really do not care about the people who are jealous. You do you. And one day, maybe it might take you weeks, months, years, maybe even a decade to get to the point where you want to be. And people will always be jealous of you. But when people are jealous of you, that's how you know that you're actually doing something and accomplishing something. So David Short says, just absolutely ignore them and don't let others' jealousy hold you back. Get your advice from successful people. If you want to be successful, you shouldn't be getting advice from people who are not successful and not doing great in life. You should be going to someone who's successful, has enough experience, and can give you the right guidance and directions and tell you what to do if you want to be successful yourself. And throw thought poison out of your environment. Basically, thought poison is negative thoughts, like I said, gossip, negative language, negative thoughts, bad ideas. Throw them out of your environment. You don't need that because that's not going to help you get to where you want to get to. And finally, go first class in everything you do. Whatever you do, do it well. If there's an exam and you think, "Mega Basmatari, I can just barely I'll pass, that's enough." No. If you're gonna do it, okay, I'm gonna go all in. Maybe you won't get straight A's and do fantastic. But when you get the results, okay, I did the best that I can. So to anything in your life, if you're doing something, do it to the best of your extent, and so that you have no regrets, because you did the best that you can. And I'll leave you with this. A wise man will be the master of his mind. A fool will be its slave. Take some time later on and think about this quote. And that brings me to the end of this presentation. I hope you guys enjoyed.
Thank you, Sehandu, for that presentation. I'm sure everyone who listened in learned something from it. And I hope it encouraged people to read the book as well. So next we have Jamila presenting the Ikigai. So hi, Jamila, how are you doing?
Hi, how are you? I'm doing great.
Same here. So I will, without further ado, give it over to you.
Thank you. I hope you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay. Okay, so hello everyone. I'm Jamila and I will be presenting the book Ikigai. So let me introduce myself to you. So I'm Jamila Rizwan. I'm 15 years old. I go to Ilma International Girls School and I'm in grade 11. I play for my school's Scrabble team and also I'm a guide at Sri Lanka Girl Guide Association. I'm the assistant secretary of the Interact Club of Ilma International Girls School. Speaking about my hobbies, I love to spend my time cooking, baking, hand embroidery or crafting, journaling, etc. Also, I love cricket and I'm a huge cricket fan. I'm also a really enthusiastic, friendly and fun-loving person, and more like to keep the environment around me lively and bubbly and just to smile around. Now coming to our main part of the presentation, it's about the book and the author. So actually Ikigai has two authors, or you can say co-authors. First one is Hector Garcia. He is a Spanish visual artist and a former software engineer. He is a citizen of Japan, where he has lived for over a decade. Spain was where he was actually born, and he is the author of several Japanese culture books, including the two worldwide bestsellers, A Geek in Japan and Ikigai. Speaking about Francis Morales, is an award-winning author who has written a number of best-selling self-help and inspirational books. He was born in Barcelona. He studied journalism, English literature, and German. He's also worked as an editor, translator, a ghostwriter, and a musician. About the book. So in real simple terms, Ikigai is the Japanese secret to a long and happy life. So it's basically based on an ancient Japanese practice technique called Ikigai. So the word is derived from the word iki, which meaning life, and kai, meaning realization of hope and expectation. There are 7 chapters. The first chapter, Ikigai, speaks about the art of staying young while growing old. You all love to know about it, right? Second chapter speaks about anti-aging secrets, that is, the little things that adapt to a long and happy life. Third one, from logotherapy to Ikigai, how to live longer and better by finding your purpose in life. To most of us who feels very, I have no purpose, I don't know why I'm living, this chapter would help you. Fourth chapter speaks about finding flow in everything you do. So it's like how to turn work and free time into spaces of growth. Fifth one, masters of longevity. Words of wisdom from the longest living people in the world. And the next one speaks about the Ikigai diet. It's not complex at all. It's the most simple diet you'll ever know, and the best one in fact for sure. So this says about what the longest living people eat. Sixth one, gentle movements longer life. Exercise from the eats that promotes health and longevity. Last one is resilience and wabi-sabi. That is like how to face life challenges without letting stress and worry, age you, which I think is really important for all of us because this time, ever since after the pandemic hit, all we know is stress, workload, everything. So you're gonna get some solution over here. Right. So this book is all about the healthful diet, a simple life in the outdoors, green tea, subtropical climate, and that's the Ikigai that shapes all of their lives. So let's get into the main content. Chapter 1. Now let me give you an introduction. So Okinawa is an island of south of mainland Japan, containing some of the world's longest living humans. There's also like a high concentration of people who are 100 or more. We're almost called cemeterians. So the oldest Okinawans are always considered healthy, physically, mentally, spiritually fit. And the first thing that pops up in Ikigai is, what is the reason for me being here? And according to the Okinawans, the reason they wake up in the morning itself is because of Ikigai. That sounds interesting, doesn't it? So this is this one main important phrase they always use. Whatever you do, don't retire. Not only the Okinawans, the entire population in Japan uses this. Because Ikigai brings satisfaction, happiness, and meaning to our lives. You'll find this later on in the presentation. The purpose of this book is to help you find yours. In fact, many Japanese people really never retire. Like they do what they love to do till the best they can. So we have the word called retire in English, but actually in Japanese, there is no such word. Now we know how much whatever you do, don't retire means for the Japanese people. That sounds very interesting. Like over here, after 60, retire. But then, even if you're 100 years old, if you love to stitch, you continue to stitch. Like that brings you happiness and less to worry about. This is the island of eternal youth. Interesting facts about these extraordinary human beings. Not only they do live much longer than the rest of the world's population, but they also suffer from fewer chronic illnesses like cancer, heart attack, diabetes, whatever you name it. Because, why they live longer? Because they drink tea, not milk tea, green tea, or jasmine tea, and eat only until the stomach is 80% full. What do we do instead? I'm hungry. You eat till you can't even breathe. But they don't do that. They keep a little bit of space for themselves, and you know why. So, looking into the 80% secret, most common sayings in Japan is harahachibu. That's what they say. Mostly they say it before eating or after eating, which means fill your belly to the 80%. The way food is served is also really important. Like by presenting meals on very small plates, the Japanese tend to eat less. If you have noticed it, I have, because my dad frequently visits Japan and I always ask him, you're eating this little, aren't you hungry? He says, no, like the rice bowl is like this much of size. It is so tiny, but this is sacred. So a typical meal in a restaurant in Japan is served in 5 plates, small on a tray, small ones, and the main meal is slightly bigger than the rest. So imagine like having 5 plates in front of you, which makes it seem like you're going to eat a lot. But what happens most of the time is that you end up feeling slightly hungry, which is good. So that's what they want, because even when you eat a lot, you feel lethargic, which is not good. You cannot do your work afterwards. They really have all these into consideration while eating. So I think we should do. So this is exactly how the meal looks. You can see a sticky rice bowl, other foods, soup. So actually this feels a lot when I look at it even now. So that is the secret. Chapter 2, active mind, youthful body. So there's so much wisdom in the classic saying, a sound mind, a sound body. I think you all have heard that for sure. So it actually reminds us that both mind and body are important to have a youthful life. So, having a youthful mind also drives you to have a healthy lifestyle that will also lower your aging process. Because when we are very stressed, tired, we tend to look more old. Because, say, actually, stress accused of killing longevity. It affects us to live longer because many people seem older than they are. Now, I think you can link to what I said. Why do they seem older than they are? Because the premature aging has shown that stress has a lot to do with it. Because the body drains faster, like when you're at a crisis. And why do we get tired so often when we have so much assignment to do, exams coming up in a week? It's crammed and we cram ourselves up and we're just all stressed. And that makes us so tired, looking so worn out, everything. So being mindful about reducing stress. So we have to be very careful about what we're doing because stress also can cause anxiety, which is not easy. A serious anxiety is not easy at all, affecting everything from our digestive system to our skin. So this is why prevention is also very important, like prevention before precaution. So in order to avoiding the toll that takes stress on, one way to reach like mindfulness is through meditation. Just in the morning, get up, go outside in the balcony, close your eyes, sit and relax for like 10 minutes. Take deep breaths. Or if you want to look at trees around, look at them. Just do some yoga, you'll feel the best. And actually, now I just told y'all that stress is not good. Too much stress is not healthy for y'all. And what am I saying here? A little stress is good for you. Well, yes, it is good. So people who maintain a low level of stress and compare to people who face challenges throughout and put their heart and soul into their work and succeeded, they live longer than people who chose to have a more relaxed lifestyle. Now, you must be asking, how is that done? Because when you are putting your effort, nothing comes easy. Success is never easy. You put effort, you get stressed. You have to sacrifice your time or whatever you have to achieve what you want. So when you're doing that, when you're like a bit stressed or tense, you tend to do the work. Like I'm such a person. Like when I'm stressed, it's when I do my work quicker and faster and everything. So stress is in a way is good, but you should not take over stress. Take it seriously. That's when it affects you. So next time if you have a little stress about something, don't worry, it's all good for you. Now it's something that is really applicable for all of us since COVID hit. A lot of sitting will age you. All of us have been literally sitting in front of our computers, laptops, Zoom meetings, online schooling, or just simply watching Netflix and whatnot. So behavior has led us to numerous diseases such as hypertension, which is also called, as pressure, obesity, which will affect your impact of living longer. Because spending too much time seated in a work or at home not only reduces your muscular and respiratory fitness, but also increases your appetite. Why do we want to eat a lot when we sit or when we want to watch Netflix? Because all these is what increases your appetite. So don't sit, don't sit a lot. Like you sit for 2 hours doing some work, get up, go walk out or just move around for half an hour because you don't want to get old very soon, do you? So being sedentary can lead to hypertension, imbalanced eating, cardiovascular diseases, osteoporosis, bone-related ones, and even kinds of cancer, which none of us want because they're all really scary to our health. We all want to live a happy, healthy, and a long life. So, coming to this part, key ingredients to make your day more effective and spice it up a bit. Who don't like to spice up our life, right? So what you do is walk to work. It's actually good. Like let's say your work is somewhere like 5 kilometers away, or that's too much. Let's say 2 kilometers away, and you wake up in the morning rather than taking a truck and rushing to work, and you're going there and sitting like for 6 hours. and looking at the screen, and then you're waking up and going to the bus and going back home. You don't get much physical exercises. So when you walk to work, it's actually good for you, because, or even don't walk to work, walk in the morning, on the weekends, like 20 minutes a day, which actually will help your body physically. Like, rather than doing cardio exercises, just go for a walk. Like, you will feel so much better, peaceful mind, peaceful, your mind is so peaceful, and you're physically improving yourself, because walking is good for cardiovascular things, your breathing and all that. Second thing is use your feet instead of an elevator and escalator. This has a link to the first one I said. So all we do, we go. Now what do we have in malls? We have staircases, but we have escalators to just quickly get us up there. But what happens when we take our stairs? We tend to pant. Why is that? Because our body is not used to climbing up the stairs and the breathing difficulties. But instead, when we continuously keep using stairs, we are automatically fit. You don't have to do any exercises to be fit. Like, this will literally help you magically. Also, participate in social and leisure activities so that you don't spend too much time in front of the television or the laptop. Oh my, we all do it. When we are bored, let's put on the TV, watch a movie. Or I'm bored. Or I'm gonna watch some anime series on YouTube or whatever it is. Instead, communicate with people. Like, it's been so long since we ever met in person, always had activities done, played outside. It's really been a long time, ever since COVID. So try to engage in that more nowadays to get back yourself, rather than just all visual virtual things. Replace your junk food with fruit. Now, I think this is gonna be really a good idea when you're gonna watch something. Let's say you're gonna binge watch something for like 5 hours, 3 hours. What do you normally do? Have a bag of chips or something and just eat. Instead, have a platter of fruits. So you it's a habit, like automatically you take and eat. In that way, you're achieving two things: enjoying yourself. Secondly, you're putting nutrition into your body, and you're automatically becoming healthy by eating them. One before the last thing is get the right amount of sleep. Sleep is so important to ourselves. I will tell you why later on in the presentation. Usually a person has sleep 8 to 7 hours. Let's say a working person, a school child, 7 to 8 hours. But 7 to 9 is like the maximum amount you can sleep, and that's really good. And you will not look old. But here, you just look like everything with all our sleep schedules messed up. But if you take less sleep, it's bad. And even if you sleep more, you feel so lethargic. Like, I can't sleep in the evening more than like 2 hours. I feel so lethargic. Like, something happens to myself. Like, I don't like it, so I never sleep in the evening. Or like, I don't like to sleep a lot other than in the night. So play with children or pets. When you just play with them, your mind goes somewhere else, which is so nice. And you feel like you're being the kid again. And we all like to be the kid again with no worries, have fun. So when you try doing this, this makes your day more effective. It feels like you've achieved something, and it will spice up your everyday life. Try it and let me know. Okay, I told you I'll speak about sleep, and here it is. The model's best kept secret. All of us want to know model's secret, right? So here we are. So models actually claim to sleep around 9 to 10 hours before their fashion show. Like the night before the fashion show, they sleep almost like 10 hours. Why do they sleep 10 hours? The skin, like no wrinkles, just like a flawless glowing skin. And no wonder why we see all models with flawless glowing skin on the fashion show. So this is the secret. Do you want to have glowing skin? Go for it. But instead of we sleeping, we all look like raccoons with dark circles in our eyes. Because why? We keep up awake, get work done. So sleep is actually important. What actually sleep can do is it helps you produce insulin in our body. When you're sleeping is where we produce insulin. It's a bit of science, but hey, it's helpful. And it helps you protect yourself against cancer. Can we ever believe that sleep protects us from cancer? I mean, now I think we all would like to sleep, because who likes to get cancer? It's a big illness which none of us want to have. And it will also slower the Alzheimer's diseases, where you forget your memory problem. This will also reduce. That's why they say sleep. People who sleep right after studying can remember things when they wake up, because right after sleep, they're putting information so you'll not forget. It's in your brain, not doing anything else to put it out. So this is why you say your memory is really good when you sleep. And it helps to fight heart diseases. So all these helps in our body is physical fitness. And after 30, the melatonin production in our body reduces. So how can you get this back? Because melatonin is actually important for all of us. You eat well, you take amount of morning sun, vitamin D is in your body, get enough sleep, avoid stress, alcohol, tobacco, everything you have, and be free. And that's what you all need to get your melatonin back. Okay, now I don't know if everyone knows what logotherapy is. So this book beautifully says what logotherapy is. So it actually helps you to find the reason to live. Some people out there are like, I don't know why I'm living. I want to die. I don't know my purpose, but I got you covered. Here it is. So logotherapy pushes patients to consciously discover their life's purpose. So I'll tell you how. So this is like an example. A person feels very empty, frustrated, anxious, everything. And he goes to therapist. The therapist shows him that what he is feeling is the desire he has, what he wants, like how he wants to live. And then what happens? The patient, first of all, discovers his life's purpose. And then he will take a decision if he wants to accept the destiny or reject it and find something new. And this will, but when you think, okay, what's my purpose? Take a minute, think, why am I here? What is your current purpose in life? It's me, education, finish my orders, or higher education. Just that's mainly what's in our head right now. So when you know it, you know why you're living, and you know where to put effort in your life. There's also another thing called the Morita therapy. All we hear is go to therapist, get yourself some therapy, and here we have a very simple, you don't have to pay therapists. Therapists are so expensive. Ask yourself these two questions and you have literally passed half the battle. So Morita therapy is like new emotions based on our actions. These emotions come through our experiences of how we have, through our experiences and how it repeats. All what you have to do to know your emotions better is do what you should be doing. Like, let's say someone's okay, you go tell your friend, okay, I want to start this new course. And she's like, oh my God, don't do it. It's not going to work out. Just going to waste like 6 months of your time, that and this. And another girl says, no, I don't think you'll be able to do it. You don't have the ability to do it. Just don't think about them. Not even ask them for opinion when you have your mindset ready. Just do what you should be doing and what you want to do. And that will eventually take you to discover your life's purpose, and then you can go forward with the flow. You just go with the flow. And that's what our chapter 4 speaks about, which is the power of flow. Actually, there's no magic recipe to find happiness. Happiness is just everywhere. You should just grab them to yourself. Because in order to live according to your Ikigai, what you really need is optimal experience. With optimal experience, you can do anything you want. So we have to focus on the things we spend our time with, which brings us the flow, which brings us happiness. Flow is really important in life. Let's say I'm starting to do my higher O-levels and then A-levels and higher education. When I just go with the flow, I know I'll do good. Like if I start to plan my life, okay, I'm going to do this and then this and this. If it doesn't happen that way halfway, I feel so demotivated, stressed, confused, everything. But when you go with the flow, you may even face obstacles, but you pass them all up and you just realize how beautiful life is when you go with the flow. So to know your flow, okay, if some of you don't know your flow, I'll help you out. So and this book really helped me out. To know your flow is know what you're going to do and know how to do it, right? When you're going to do something, you should have a way to do it. So, think to yourself, how am I going to do it? And then ask if I fare well in it or will I not do it very good. And then if you have to go somewhere, know where you have to go to do it, because that's what is the basic things you need to know. And then you will obviously get few challenges, significant challenges, and you also need significant skills. Like, let's say I want to draw and I'm thinking how to do it. I need some good skills. Where do I go? To an academy. What are the challenges I will face? Maybe not going to draw very well in the beginning. What are the skills I need? Creativity, design skills. And then what you have to do is be free from distractions, which negative distractions. All of us have in life, like, certain people are like, no, don't do it. No, you'll not do good. All that. Just kick them out. Just ignore. And then have a clear objective what you're going to do, like a solid mindset. Why am I learning to draw? Because I want to become an artist, right? So, and then you concentrate on that single task. When at the end of the day, you literally know I literally went with the flow and I achieved what I want to achieve. So I think if I'll just, take this down or whatever it is, y'all will really find flow in your life. If you're confused at any moment and just look at this, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I think I can achieve flow when I do this. So now y'all must be wondering, how does flow involve in Ikigai? Like, what does it make sense? Because after listening to this, you would have got a better idea of your life. Must have actually found, okay, what am I doing at the moment? You would have found it by now. What you do is write them all in a piece of paper and ask yourself questions. Okay, what am I doing right now? I'm studying. Or let's say you're not studying, you're just wasting time watching television, just being free without putting any effort. Now, why am I doing this? What is it gonna give me? If you answer them, you might find the underlying ikigai in your lives. Like, you literally find the underlying ikigai. You find meaning. You know what you're gonna do. But if you still don't get it, keep trying, put effort, and then you'll automatically find your flow. Because remember, flow is mysterious. It's like a muscle. The more you train it, the more it will flow, and the closer you will be to your Ikigai. So, chapter 5 is about the words of wisdom from the longest living people in the world. So this lady, Misa Okawa, she is a 117-year-old. She says, eat and sleep. You will live a long time. You have to learn to relax. And her self-care routine was eating sushi and sleeping. How nice is that? Do we even, treat ourselves or have some self-care on us? I don't think so. And I think it's time for us to do it. Maria Capoeira. She says she's 116-year-old and she says, I've never eaten meat in my life. That's fascinating. Because anyways, it's kind of fair because Japan is towards the sea. They all get fish. I mean, it's okay, but after all, meat is good. Walter Browning, 114-year-old. He says, if you keep your mind and body busy, you'll be around for a really long time. Because now, how is this fair? You must be thinking, okay, we're like, keep my body and mind busy. How am I going to enjoy life? No. Let's say when you're just free, you're not big nothing. All you do is just overthink. Think. You're not going to be good. Because then when you're busy, you don't have so much of things to worry about outside. You're just focused on your thing. You know what you want to do. You know what to achieve. And you just go with it. And you'll have less distractions, less things to worry about. And I feel that's really good. Chapter 6, we are in the one for the last chapter. The 15 natural antioxidants in the Okinawan's diet. Here comes the diet part. So, they actually eat really good food, which is rich in nutrients like nothing. Tofu, miso, tuna, carrots, sea kelp, cabbage, seaweeds, onions, sweet potatoes, soybeans, jasmine tea. I said tea. Now there are 2 teas, which is really, really good for your body. And this is what their 2 secret teas they take every day. jasmine tea. You know what this does to your body? It reduces the risk of heart attacks. It literally reduces heart attacks. And none of us want to experience that, do we? No. It reduces heart attacks, strengthens our immune system, helps relieve stress, and lower cholesterol. So all this food literally helps us in our internal body system, all that. And green tea. Now we all know green tea is to reduce body weight, fat. No, it not only does that. And some people, because they are thin and they don't drink green tea because they think they go even thin. But that's not only what it does. It literally reduces your blood sugar level, improves circulation in your body, protects against flu and the UV damage you will get. So they literally take this so casually. They don't have a complex meal, complex diet, nothing. It's just so simple, and that's why they're living so long and healthy. Chapter 7, Resilience in the Wabisab. So this speaks about the exercises they do. They do exercise in the morning when they wake up every single day, and they're not even hard. Like, look, the first one is literally put your arms up and then down. Just sit for 5 minutes, and that you're done. That's like the most basic exercise you can ever do. It will give you so much like a better feeling. And you can even do that while inhaling and exhaling, or do like the more exercises shown over here. Like, you have more ones here. You can do them. And that's what they do, and that's how they're feeling fit. You don't have to be fit like, okay, I have to, do dumbbell, I have to get abs and all that. That is not what it means. Simple exercises can change your life. Remember that. So this is actually some quotes said by Mr. and Hector Garcia. Hector Garcia says, essentials in order to happiness in this life are something to do, something to love, and something to hope for. And I feel this is so powerful. It can be a bit complex, but when you actually understand the meaning behind it, you just do so good. And Mr. Ida says, happiness is always determined by your heart. If your heart is happy with what you do, you are happy. Let's say I'm doing something I don't like to cook, but I'm forced to cook. Will my food taste good? No, it won't. Why? Because I'm not putting the love and the affection into what I'm doing to become good. And I'll also not feel happy cooking every day, right? And keep going. Don't change your path. You know you're going the right path, but you feel like, okay, no, the other path is way easier and less stressful. But don't. Even when you know what the right path is, go with it. Go for it. Like, that will literally, even though you might face obstacles, you know it's worth the wait to achieve what you want to achieve. So that 10 basic and the most simple rules of Ikigai. First one, stay active, don't retire, do what you like to do. Take things slow. Don't fill your stomach to the full, like only 80%. Surround yourself with good friends. I mean, like, let's just kick off the toxic ones. We don't want them in their life. They bring negative effect to us. And what's the next thing? Get in shape for your next birthday. Get yourself fit, nice, smile, laugh, spread good things around. Connect with nature. Go to a park, spend time in the evening. Just do what you love to do. Or grow plants at your home. When you wake up in the morning, you see the plants, you feel better. Give thanks, show gratitude, be grateful for what you have, which others don't have. And you feel, okay, I'm grateful, I at least have this, but people are suffering without this. Be grateful, or like have a gratitude journal every day. Write what you're grateful for every day for that day. Live the moment. I'm telling you, there is no better feeling than living the moment rather than worrying about your past or worrying about your future. It's not going to help you. Live the moment, you'll have the best experience ever. Last thing, just follow your Ikigai. It's simple as that. Ikigai is not a hard concept at all. It's just a magic shortcut solution to find meaning, happiness, everything in your life. So I give a quick summary. It's about nurturing friendship, eating light, getting enough rest, doing exercises. This is what all sums up to a good health. Like the purpose of this book is to bring secrets of Japanese sanitarians to you and give you the tools to find your Ikigai. I think I did that job. I gave what I read from the book. I am giving it to y'all for y'all to find your Ikigai. Because those who discover and find their Ikigai have everything they need for a long life and a joyful life. So the Ikigai focus on sense of purpose to each and every day, and that plays an important role in their longevity. And that's why we see so many sanitarians in Okinawa. With that, my presentation comes to an end. I hope all of y'all enjoyed it and found this really beneficial, because I hope I gave y'all a reason to live, reason to find your Ikigai. I hope I gave you the tools to find yours, and I hope it makes an impact in your life. So with that, thank you so much, and that's end my presentation.
Thanks, Jamila, for that. I hope everyone got something out of that presentation and encouraged everyone to go check out the book as well. So next up, we have Harish, who will be presenting the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. So hope you're doing good, Harish. Hi. Yeah,
I'm doing great.
yeah. So I will give it over to you.
Sure. Hope you can see my slides.
Yes, we can see.
Yeah, so good morning, everyone. So I'm Harish, and a little bit of an introduction about me. So I'm 20 years old, and I'm a final year undergraduate pursuing a degree in computer science at Abbott. And to speak about my interest, I love to read books and to play chess and cricket, football, whatever, and sports. So I also love watching crimes and mystery podcasts, and also reading novels related to the mystery of mystery-related stuff. So that's the whole concept of the introduction about me. So talking about the book. So talking about the book. So the Rich Dad Poor Dad is about Robert Kiyosaki's own encounters of his two dads. So his real father, who is the poor dad, as said in the book, is his best and the rich dad, which is the father of his best friend. So the book is typically based upon the ways in which both men shaped the author's thoughts about money and investing. So the book explores the myth of that you do not need to earn a high income to become a rich, but there are certain types of methods and techniques that you must follow from your youngest age and your mindset to become a greater successful person in the future as the time passes. So it basically explains the several methods of managing your personal finance and effectively, and teaches the difference between the working for money and having your money work for you. So talking about the author, so Robert Kiyosaki is an entrepreneur, investor, and author of the best-selling book on personal finance, which is The Rich Dad Poor Dad. So he teaches millions of people around the world about financial literacy and how to accomplish financial independence. He believes that each of us has the power to make changes in our lives. So taking control of our financial future and live the rich life that we deserve. So these two dads were very much influenced major decisions that the author, who is Robert Kiyosaki, made in his lifetime. So moving on to the next slide. So these are the chapters that we will be looking at. So these chapters are basically the life lessons taught by the rich dad according to the book. So the book typically explains about all the lessons learned by the rich dad, learned by the author, and typically speaks about what needs to be done to become a successful person. So for the introduction, so as I said before, the main concept of the book revolves around two dads. The poor dad, who's Kiyosaki's biological father, and so he's basically a man who has a higher intelligence and very well educated. So he believed that real success is to study hard and get good grades, then finding a well-paying job. Yet, despite these seemingly positive attributes, the poor dad didn't succeed well financially. And talking about rich dad, so it was Kiyosaki's best friend's father. So he had a similar work ethic to Kiyosaki's real dad, but with a slight twist that the rich dad believed in financial education, learning how the money works typically, and understanding how to make money work for you are the important things that to keep becoming self-aware of the financial freedom that you're going to achieve in the future. So those typically are the main introduction and the basic flow of the book. So, so the first chapter is literally I will be talking about the lessons that learned by the author himself. So the first lesson speaks about the rich don't work for money. So this basically explains why we should not go behind the money. As I said before, it's so there's a difference between being poor and being broke. So there's a lovely quote: "Is broke is temporary, poor is eternal." So this is the quote that I found fascinating from the first book, and the author tried to contrast the difference of their mindset between the poor dad and the rich dad. So as the table shows, the mindset of a poor dad is like get a good job in a good company and to earn money for them, work for them. And what are the mindset of owning a car? There's no proper dream to achieve something that he or she wants. So he's just trying to play safe and just being in the safe zone, trying to earn the income of the monthly salary from the company that he works for. While the rich dad is always on a thinking process of creating a big company, creating an enterprise, literally buying a company. So he has a different mindset of creating an empire, creating something that that creates a name for himself. So he always has a different mindset of whether or not you can do. He doesn't seem to be thinking of whether you can afford or cannot afford. He always think that how can I afford a certain type of material or an item. So he also learned to manage risk and takes control. Always self-aware of what it is risk that comes back in terms of when you do something big. And also he believes that the money literally works for me rather than he works for the money itself. So these are the lessons or the contrast that the rich dad, the author, identifies between the poor dad and the rich dad. So moving on to the second lesson taught by the rich dad is that teach financial literacy. So basically, this chapter mainly focuses on how people are taught in schools to earn money, but they didn't teach how to use money well. So this is one drawback that he notices, the rich dad basically notices in the school education system. So he knew that the importance of learning financial literacy is that they don't teach this at school. You need to self-learn into your own course. So the author reveals that the secrets of financial literacy when it comes to getting richer and emphasizes on the fact how rich really do get rich overnight. So the steps to get out of the proverbial rat race, basically the normal routine done by normal people. To get out of that race, you need to first understand the difference between what is an asset and a liability. So talking about an asset and a liability, so understanding the difference is important. So what is basically an asset and a liability? So in a nutshell, assets are income generating items that increase in value over time. So if you buy a certain property like a land or something, the chances are it will just go, the prices will just goes up as the time passes. So that's a perfect example of being an asset. And on the other hand, liability are items that decrease in value over time. So which will cost you more in the long run. So for example, buying clothes. or buying a mortgage as shown in the diagrams, or buying consumer loans and credit cards. Those are some proper or popular terms of the liabilities that doesn't add any value as you progress further in the future. So these are the two types of assets, two different tables of assets. So assets are real estate, stocks, bonds, and notes and intellectual property. So these are the things that the rich dad emphasize on in this chapter, and understanding the difference between understanding the financial literacy. So talking about the asset and liability comes with a question. So the author comes up with the question saying whether is your home an asset or a liability. So talking about home, when it comes to home, the author emphasizes that the home is not. So many people think that home is an asset, but it's not the case with the author. So the author, who is Robert, thinks that the home is a liability. So the reasons that he proposed, or the reasons why the home is not an asset but a liability, are that it's because the people work almost all their lives to pay off a home, which is in terms of the loans they've got to pay in terms in the long run for each and every annual payments that needs to be done to be repaying the loan, to complete the loan, and also the maintenance and other utilities expenses that you do to your home, that to make it luxury, to buy your furniture from every stuff that you buy. It just adds more expenses as you decorate the home further. And also regarding to the property tax. So also this basically takes place in America where you need to pay a certain amount of tax to buying a home loan property, and there are other procedures to be done. So you need to pay annual tax every year. So the next point is that the house values can depreciate. So there's a slight possibility that the the value of the house may depreciate or decrease in value, because in the long run there'll be construction, or the building may be weaker in the long run. So those can be the key factors that affect the price of the house. So the next point is that instead of investing in a home earning assets, your money basically goes on to the payments for the house. So it's, as I said before, it's just you pay your money, you just give out the money to buy the furniture and other luxuries, and not keeping money to buy the essential stuff. So if you want, so those are the things that he understood by means of why the house is not an asset but a liability. So if you want to buy a house, you just first need to generate the cash flow by acquiring the assets. So you just basically need to have a proper plan, or just need to be aware that if you want to buy a house, you don't need to fall into a hole where you just go down deeper and deeper in terms of the money being depreciating. So that's what he tried to propose here. So which becomes income to pay for the debt. So the assets that you buy will just keeps on generating more income as you progress in the future. So the income that you gain from the asset will be able to pay off the rent or other stuff that pay or to buy some luxuries. So you can use that money for that purposes. So that's what he proposed to buy a house and so on. So the examples of real assets are, as he has mentioned before, the apartments, for buying an apartment for rent is considered as a real asset, and real estate, as I said before, the business that does not require physical presence. So you hire managers. It's like freelancers or anything that comes with a low cost, low financial or physical space that you need to pay on. So you don't need to have additional amounts, additional payments to be made when you don't require physical presence. So moving on to the next slide is that moving on to the next lesson basically is finding your own business. So staying financially healthy is by spending your time with your loved ones, but it also comes with a higher price of managing your time. So the author explains beautifully that most people confuse their profession with their business.
So I think Harish is having a bit of a connection issue. We'll wait for a couple of minutes and see if he can join back, and or else we'll move on. So till Harish can join back, we'll move on to our next presenter, who is, if I'm not mistaken, Kiara. Hi, Kiara. How are you doing today?
Hi, Yuri. I'm doing great. How are you?
Great. I'm fine as well. So you're presenting, it's kind of a funny story by Ned B Jamie, and I'll give it over to you.
Yeah. So can you guys see my screen?
Yes, we can.
So hi everyone, I'm Kiara, and today I will be presenting It's Kind of Funny Story by Ned B Jamie. So let me introduce myself. I'm Kiara and I'm 14 years old. I study at Bolawala Ave Maria Convent and I'm in grade 10. My key hobbies are reading, listening to music, and watching movies. So I'm interested in psychology and hematology. I love reading books based on real life. So moving on to the author. The author of this book is Ned B Jamie. So Ned B Jamie was born on April 4th, 1981, and he grew up in Brooklyn, New York. And he spent his early 20s in an adult psychiatric hospital in Brooklyn from November 29th of 2004 until December 3rd. So 7 days later, he began to write It's Kind of Funny Story and finished it 1 year later. So his novel has been named one of the best ever novels for teenagers. The Weezy suffered from a clinical depression during his whole life, and on December 9th of 2013, he committed suicide in his apartment in Brooklyn. So moving on to the characters, you'll get to know lots of characters in this book, which has different names from different countries. So first, it's Craig Gilner. Craig Gilner is a 15-year-old teenager who is very clever and smart and talented, but he has a clinical depression. So this is Noelle. Noelle is a 15-year-old girl. She's, according to the book, she's very pretty and very smart, but she also has kind of a depression, and it's different from others. She's different from others. So this is Dr. Minerva. Dr. Minerva is a psychologist, and he is the psychologist who prescribes Craig his medicines, and he used to see her once a week. And this is Maktada. So he's an Egyptian who loves his country very much. So he's Craig's roommate at Arjuna Hospital, and so he loves Egyptian music. And he's someone who doesn't like to leave the room. He stays on bed whole day and doesn't like to go out and interact with others. And this is Craig's family, his little sister, mother, and father. So according to the book, they are a very supportive family who helps him in every way they could to get him off his situation. Moving on to the chapters. So moving on to the chapters. Yeah, chapters, there are 50 anonymous chapters, and so from I divided it into 3 parts so it would be easy to for you all to understand. So from chapter 1 to 14, it's about Craig's usual life after getting screwed up, and from chapter 15 to 16, it's suicidal thoughts and decisions.
Okay, it seems as though Kiara also has a connection issue. So till she is able to join back, maybe we can move on to Akil's presentation. He'll be presenting Born a Crime by Trevor Noah. So over to you, Akil.
So hello everyone, a very good morning to all of you. So the book that I'll be presenting to you today is Born a Crime by Trevor Noah. So has everyone committed a crime in their life? Little list of crimes. But have you all ever thought that you can be born a crime? Funny, right? Let me move on to the next slide where I introduce myself. So I'm Akil Rizvi. I'm 22 years old. I studied at Trinity College, Kandy, and I'm a final year student at Apit, Kandy, studying law. So my hobbies include reading, drawing, writing, and listening to music. And my favorite country travel is the Netherlands. I love the country. I do not know that there are many things to love in that country. So the author of this book is Trevor Noah. he's a very funny man. The first impression I got is he must be an African American, the way he looks. When I found out about him, I found out that he was a South African, and he's 38 years old. And he's a comedian, a TV show host, where he now hosts The Daily Show by Trevor, and he's a political commentator as well. So talk about the book. It was published in the year of 2016, authored by Trevor himself, and published by John Murray Publishers. This book is a paean to his mother. So define a paean is like a book of thanks. So the main themes of this book is a mother's love, the culture of South Africa, conflicts between the blacks and the white, and internal conflicts as well between the black tribes as well. And that's a tinge or more of comedy, because he's a comedian. You need to add that. So the chapters in this book that divided into 3 parts in 18 chapters. So the first impression I got was they must be in chronological order from his birth, teenage years, and his adulthood. No. Like each chapter has a different story taken from different eras. So this book begins with the Immorality Act of 1927 in South Africa. This is the starting point of the story and why the author was born a crime. So let me go through this Immorality Act of 1927. It states, to prohibit illicit carnal intercourse between Europeans and natives and other acts in relation thereto. Be it enacted by the King's most excellent Majesty, the Senate, and the House of Assembly of the Union of South Africa as follows. Part 1. Any European male who has illicit carnal intercourse with a native female, and any native male who has illicit carnal intercourse with a European female shall be guilty of an offense and liable on conviction to imprisonment for a period not exceeding 5 years. Part 2. Any native female who permits any European male to have illicit carnal intercourse with her, and any European female who permits any native male to have illicit carnal intercourse with her shall be guilty of an offense and be liable on conviction to imprisonment for a period not exceeding 4 years. So what was this crime that was committed by Trevor? Well, his mother was black, his father was Swiss German, and he was born mixed. So to talk about this book, it is filled with many stories of Trevor in his neighborhood as the only mixed child, as he lived in a predominantly black neighborhood. Religion was inculcated into him from a very small age. He was taken to 3 churches, namely the black church, the mixed church, and the white church. So first let me talk about the black church. It was the church didn't have many facilities. The mixed church, he loved it there because it had a jumbotron, like a big screen, where he could see the lyrics of the Christian pop or hymns. And white church, it had many more facilities. He did not go to the main service. He went to Sunday school. He said he was an expert in it. And like his mother didn't allow him to get anything foreign from outside, like boys to men. No. Any other things, he just heard it, nothing else. And his stories, his superheroes, no He-Man. His superheroes were the prophets, like Samson, David, and he's like puts a comedic touch. Samson beating the enemies with the jawbone of a donkey. Man, that was bad ass. And like he could speak many languages such as English, Xhosa, Zulu, German, Afrikaans, and Sotho. Like he was a chameleon literally. Like if you spoke something in Xhosa, he would reply back to you in Xhosa. And if you spoke to him in Zulu, he would reply back in Zulu. There are many instances in this book where he does so. And this book has a special place for his mother, as she made him the man that he is today. And when you take the chapters of the book, like his mother has like a featuring part, like the supporting actress. Like he described the relationship between his mother was like Tom and Jerry. You know Tom and Jerry. Wow, what a fun duo. His mother was Tom, because she would chase after him when he does something naughty. Jerry, the naughtiest of them. He would be Jerry in this story. Gradually, when he grew up, it became like cop and robber. The both of them respected each other, but both of them hated each other as well. Like he talks like about his mother, as she made him experience many things that she could not experience because the blacks were restricted in certain facets. You could not do this, you cannot go here, there was curfew. And then he states that his mother was heavily religious. But although that she was heavily religious, she was a stubborn and brave woman. What a badass of a mother she would have been. Like he wanted excuse not to go to church. She said, no, Trevor, you have to go to church. That is Satan obstructing you to go to church. You're feeling sick, let's go to church. Jesus will heal you. Like there are some interesting quotes in this book I found. They were so superb, they struck me. He says, quote number 1, we spend so much time of being afraid of failure, afraid of rejection, but regret is the thing we should fear most. Failure is an answer. Rejection, it is an answer. Regret is an eternal question you will never have the answer to. You'll come up with thoughts like, what if only, I wonder what would have. You will never know, and it will haunt you for the rest of your days. Next quote. Nelson Mandela once said, if you talk to a man in a language that he understands, that goes to his head. If you talk to him in his language, that goes to his heart. He was so right, man. When you make the effort to speak to someone in his language, even if it's just the basic phrases here and there, you're saying to them, I understand you have a culture and identity that exists beyond me. I see you as a human being. So as I said in the previous slide, that he could speak in many languages like Xhosa, Afrikaans, German, English, and Zulu. That happened in the chapter of Chameleon, where he was exposed to people of various tribes. Like one of these guys from Zulu tribe, they came and spoke to him in Zulu. They thought he did not understand. He replied back to him in Zulu, and they said, okay, we forgive you, man. We thought he was someone else. And then the third quote, my mom did what school did. She taught me how to think. Like he crowns his mother because she taught him how to think. Like in school, you just spoon-fed everything and you're not allowed to think. You're just given everything to your brain, always stored in it. And she taught him to think logically. So let me recap the whole story, the whole book as well. Like Trevor Noah was born a crime. Like, of course not, he could answer back in 5 languages, and because his mother threw him out of the window of a moving car, and not because he accidentally burned down someone's house with a magnifying glass. Because that was a creative guy. He did, and not even because he took Hitler to Bar Mitzvah, not the Adolf Hitler, with one of his friends. Because in South Africa, you name anyone, anything. The Jews got very furious about that because his friend was named Hitler. But because this was South Africa and his mother was black and his father was white. So that's it from me. Thank you all for listening. I hope you all have a great day.
Thank you, Akil, for that presentation. I see that Kiara has come back online, so I think we'll let Kiara continue with her presentation.
So I'm very sorry for the inconvenience. Yeah. So I think we stopped from chapters. So talking about the chapters, there are 50 anonymous chapters in this book. So I divided it into 3 parts, so it will be easy for you all to understand. So from chapter 1 to 14, it's about Craig's usual life after getting depressed, and from chapter 15 to 16, suicidal thoughts and decision. then chapter 17 to 50 times in Arjun Hospital. So moving on to chapter 1 to 14, it's about Craig's early life. So Craig got depressed due to some reasons. So he doesn't know why, the exact reason why he got depressed. But he gives some reasons which he thinks that they might be the reason for his depression. And so that depression started from stress vomiting, and it continued for like a year or two onwards, and like he was very weak, and his brain was like working in a different way than others, and he stopped eating. He couldn't eat any solid food, and if he forced himself to eat, he will throw up. So, and he was very bright. He's a bright student, but he thought that I'm not bright enough. I'm not clever. It's just my hard working and all. That's why I'm getting good marks. He had 93s for his subjects and his as his marks, but he wasn't satisfied. So, and his brain starts cycling, which he calls that brain cycling, like when he starts thinking and thinking about different topics and all. So when his brain starts cycling, he can't control himself. So Craig finds anchors and tentacles, which helps him distract from his reality, like every stressful thought. So like for some example, like reading books, cycling, watching other people play video games and watch movies, etc. So he finds those things and he tries to engage in those works so he can be left in peace without brain cycling and stress vomiting and like that. So he meets Dr. Minerva, who prescribes, talks with him and prescribes him medicine. So those doctors prescribes him a medicine called Zoloft, which is a bit powerful medicine, which was given to depressed people. It's like a kind of drug. And so Craig thought that this Zoloft is a medicine which is like an antibiotic which you take when you have a fever or a cold. You can take it, and when you feel better, you can stop that medicine. He thought like that, and after he took Zoloft, he felt better, and he stopped taking his medicine without the instruction of his doctor. So he thought everything would be okay, but it wasn't. So like after Craig stopped his medicine, he was okay for a few months, and he was like, oh yeah, now I'm feeling better. I'm not depressed. I'm like a usual teenager, and I won't be depressed again. And he was having a jolly good time during those few months. But that his depression started all over again, and it was worse than ever, throwing up continuously, and it was worst. So he couldn't control himself, his brain, and it was working very badly, and he wanted to kill himself because he thought that now he's better. He was happy for being better and having a usual life like his friends, but now he's now worse than ever. So he wanted to kill himself, and he decided to kill himself. So after he decided to suicide, but one part of him wanted to kill himself, but the other part of him said, what will happen to my parents? What will happen to my family? He had a little sister who was very supportive. He thought about her. What would happen to my sister if I do this? She'll get depressed too. What will she think? She'll think that I'm a weird person who is very weak, who can't control himself. He wanted to like deny that feeling which he had to kill himself, but it was very difficult. It was a powerful battle between himself and his brain and his feelings. So, and the other thought which he got was, would I be in peace after the death? Because like, according to, he was Catholic, and according to Catholic people, they use, refers Bible. So according to the Bible, suicide is a sin. Like killing somebody or killing yourself is a sin. So his mind starts cycling. What would happen to my family and what would happen to me? I won't be in peace. Like that, several thoughts in his brain like started cycling. So Craig decided to refer a book called How to Get Over the Loss of Loved Ones, which his mother died to control herself and learn how to control herself after her father died. So this book gave instructions to the people who was depressed after the loss of their loved ones. Craig read this and he found a hotline called suicidal hotline. So Craig ringed them. So a lady answered that phone and he gave instructions to him what to do. So like now after getting those instructions from the lady, she told him to go to the nearest hospital and check in. So he had a hospital few feet away from his apartment. So he went to that hospital, and that hospital's name is Arjuna Hospital. So he had to fill a form when he entered the hospital. So he filled it. And for the illness, he had suicidal thoughts. Everyone was like confused. Now he wants to kill himself. It's a risk. He can do it anytime using even a small thing he has. So the staff asked him to give all the sharp things and all, like he had some keys and they took the keys and his shoelace and everything that will help him kill himself. And then they asked him to get admitted to the psychiatric ward. So he did as they told, and he got admitted to that ward. And there was lots of people in that ward who was depressed and who had mental illnesses. They were getting medication for these illnesses of them, and he met lots of people who had worse problems than him. So like some people didn't had a supportive family as he did. Some people was uh, like they didn't even know what they were doing. They were talking like maniacs, but they didn't know what they are doing exactly. So at that time, he met lots of people who were worse than him, and he thought, what is this? I have a very supportive family, and my problem is something I can get over. So if I get over this, and when I go out of this hospital and work in the way the way that usual people work, I can get better. I can get better by myself without anybody's like having others help and all, but he can get better by himself. So he was thinking about these things and he thought, I must get better. So he was forcing himself to do those things which he feared, and so he did. He could overcome his depression, and so he won the battle between him and his feelings, his negative feelings. He got better and he got out of the hospital. He never returned to that hospital, but he volunteered to help people as he like who got depressed. He volunteered to help people who have depression and mental illnesses and help them feel better. So, fun facts. There are lots of fun facts in this book besides depression and all. Now, maybe you all are thinking, what kind of book is this? It's all about depression and mental illnesses and negative thoughts. No, that's not it has more things that helps you to think in a different way, help you to get to know things which is useful for your life. So, like, in this novel, it's kind of funny story, and Virginie develops the idea that mental illnesses is not a death sentence, and recovery and happiness are always possible. Like, if someone gets to know that he or she has a depression, they think, oh now my life is over and I won't live anymore. I'll get suicidal thoughts and I'll kill myself. Like that, they think that they are a lunatic and things like that. They think that their lives will be over. But Ned B Jamie tries to emphasize this, that mental illness is not something that makes you kill. You can overcome these diseases and your negative feelings. You can apart yourself from those negative feelings, and you can live a better life than you was. So he always tries to emphasize this by Craig's thoughts, like comparing himself and his friends at the mental hospital. So if you read the book, you'll get to know that how other people's feels and how the society thinks about depressed people, but it's not true. The society always thinks that they are lunatics and make them, if you illnesses to overcome their problems, they'll get better and they'll be better than they was. So, and the other thing is, you'll find out that Craig has a very nice, a good talent, which is something that will make you be cheerful. Like these images you see in here are called brain maps, which are maps is like identical as the maps we see, but like it's something like inside a human body. So it's called brain maps. So Craig uses to draw these brain maps with his all on imaginary places. So key takeaways. So friends are one of the most valuable things in our lives. So when Craig was okay, before he got depressed, he had a very important test which qualified him to his high school. So he was working very hard on it, and he didn't wanted to fail that exam. So he was working and working and working over and over again till he was got 800 out of 800 from that exam. He stopped engaging with his friends, like he reduced the time which he used to spend with his friends, and he was studying, and he didn't have any friends. But after getting into the hospital, Iron Hospital, he made lots of friends. Like everybody was his friend, and they all helped him. He tried to help them, and he was very happy. That was one reason why he one reason for him to get better in that hospital. So we all must remember friends are one of the most valuable thing in our life, and we must find good friends, not bad ones. We must find good friends. So, and the other thing is, you must study well, but studying is not your life. There is a life for you to enjoy. So maybe you all know that there are some people who think that studying is the entire life of yours. Like they only does their studies, they goes to their extra classes and goes to school, then again studying and studying online classes. They only tries to learn, they are only storing up knowledge, but that's not the perfect knowledge. It's only logical things. You don't know what is the environment and all. You don't know anything in your brain. There's two sides, which is logical and aesthetic. So when you're only doing your studies using your textbooks and books, you're filling your logical side of your brain. And if you don't do any aesthetic thing or get a bit rest from your studies, you'll get depressed. So there's a life for you to enjoy besides studying. Studying is important, but it's not your life. You must have a balanced life, which will make you a better person than just someone who has logical brain. So, and the other thing I learned from this book is there are people who has more serious problems than you have. So sometimes we as students thinks that we have lots of things to do and we have the worst problems ever, like getting depressed on our studies, thinking about our exams and thinking whether we'll fail or pass, or would we be able to go to a good university, would we be able to get a good job in our future. Like that, we are getting depressed and I have lots of homeworks to do. You are getting depressed and you are thinking that you have the worst problem ever. But you must remind yourself that there are lots of people who have worse and more serious problems than you have. Think about people who lives in war zones, who has cancers, who are homeless, who doesn't have food to eat. They have far worse problems than you do. So always we must think positive, and we must believe in ourselves that we can do this. And you must always remind yourself that you are someone who has good talent, and you are a valuable person. And you must remind yourself whenever you get depressed and you think that you have the worst problems ever, that there are people who has more serious problems than you do. So this brings to the end of my presentation, and thank you all of you for being attentive and taking your time to listen to this presentation. Hope you enjoyed, and try to read this book if you are interested. And yeah, it will give you lots of knowledge about yourself, and it will help you to get more positive and reduce depression. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Kiara, for that presentation. I'm sure it kind of like shed a light on depression a bit. It is a serious issue, and it's not talked about too widely. And yeah, people who have it, people who have these thoughts, etc., looked down upon and stuff. We just need to bring about, information and attention to this issue, right? So unfortunately, Harish is unable to come back. I would like to thank every presenter and their presentations. They were all very good. It shed light on different sorts of topics, right? Like Kiara's depression and how to lead a better, healthier life, like in Ikigai, and also gave a bit of knowledge on like racism and how it was, how bad it was at the time. Now etc. So thank you to all the presenters and their presentations. Also, I would like to thank everyone once again who came, logged on, listened to our presentations, took time off to listen to us. Also, a big thanks to Mr. Raghulan Dharmakulasingham and Mr. KVT Ramesh for initiating this movement so that we can share knowledge, learn knowledge. It helps the habit of reading and just overall communication skills as well. So once again, thanks to everyone here. I hope you all this brings us to the end of our session. Hoping you all will have a great day ahead, a great week ahead, a great month ahead. So thank you. And yeah.